Welcome to Pick Yourself Up. I am your host, Assegid Habtewold. Today, I have a business owner, a successful business owner, immigrant. His name is Chiko Abengowe.
Yes.
He is the CEO of Perfect Staffing and Perfect Office. He's in our office. On behalf of our viewers, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So I always ask this question to make sure that people quickly know who you are. So who's Chiko using just one word?
Oh, one word. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, the way I like to describe myself is that I'm an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Okay.
And what I mean by that is the way I look at entrepreneurs are problem solvers. They're individuals that look at problems and identify those problems and then find a solution to it. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a problem solver.
What motivated you to enter into entrepreneurship to solve problems?
What motivated me? I think a lot of different things motivated me into becoming an entrepreneur. And I wasn't even sure that's what I was becoming. I just knew I needed some extra money because when I added things, it just didn't add up.
Okay.
So I started with what I knew. I had a job at the time where I was a healthcare recruiter. So I started with that. I decided that I was going to start my own staffing agency at that time.
Who are your clients? I mean, whom do you serve?
So, I mean, right now, in the beginning, we served mostly healthcare clients because that's what I knew. But our clients are really any organization that's looking for temporary staff or staff on a contract basis. So we can serve healthcare, we can service construction, admin, front desk. We can pretty much serve any client that needs those services.
You told me that you came to the United States when you were a kid, like 7 years old.
Yes.
So you are an immigrant here. What helped you to really make that transition from working into owning your business? And now you are hiring people and you're serving a lot of people. So what helped you to make that transition as an immigrant?
I mean, I think it's not just one thing. I think it was just through like life experiences and my desire to take a little bit more control of my life that kind of helped in that transition. But yes, I did come here when I was 7 years old. I grew up mostly here, so a lot of the stuff I kind of know.
Yeah.
So that was a big asset in terms of me transitioning. But it wasn't until I had a job, an actual job, I started working full time and kind of understanding how the system works that I understood, hey, you know what, this is something I can do, let me try it. So I decided at the age of 26 with just $1,000 to my name to quit my job and give it a shot.
I heard people saying you, the young Dangote. For the people who don't know Dangote, he is a Nigerian, the richest African business owner. Why do you think they are calling you the young Dangote?
I have no clue. He's a great guy. He's totally in a different class. But of course, with confidence and hard work, anyone could achieve levels of greatness. So I don't know. I'm thrilled to be compared, but definitely not. He's counting billions. I'm counting millions, which is totally different.
Yeah, for an immigrant business owner, I mean, a millionaire at this young age,
Yes.
Obviously, when you get to where he is today, you could be like him.
No doubt about
go
it.
better. We don't know, but at least we are able to see that there is a sign, there is a potential that we could be able to see that you can become a great entrepreneur. We have seen already some results.
Thanks. That's the goal.
If you want to be like him, a billionaire, what do you think you should do?
I mean, continue to do what I do now and service more people. Because becoming a billionaire is not about whether you're made for it.
Yeah.
It's dependent on the amount of people that you service. So if I'm able to service enough individuals, enough people, and exchange money, then I'll get there one day.
So you're telling me that money is a kind of byproduct. It's about service. First, you want to focus on service.
Money is definitely a byproduct of providing a needed service, right, to an individual, a customer, an organization. So if an individual is really serious about becoming a millionaire or becoming a billionaire or whatever monetary goal that they have, they need to first identify an individual or an organization that they want to service and price that accordingly, and then go to market pretty much.
All right, let's talk about the challenges that immigrant business owners face. I know our challenges could be different. You know, I'm a business owner, I am a service provider. I may have my own difficulties and challenges because I'm in a new culture.
Correct.
And I may have some barriers that I need to overcome.
Correct.
In my industry. You, I believe, have also that kind of challenges. Do you have any challenges that are specific because you are an immigrant?
I mean, of course, in life, there's challenges to everything. There's challenges of being short. There's challenges of being fat. There's challenges of being tall. I mean, there's different challenges that are going to present themselves to you as an individual when you're trying to accomplish something. But your goal is not to focus on the challenges. Your goal is to focus on the asset that you have, the resources and opportunities that you have to be able to accomplish that which you want to accomplish. And when those obstacles come your way and are in the way, the way I look at it is just made to make you stronger or to help identify if this is the way you actually want to go. So of course there's challenges, being an immigrant, having a weird last name. But those challenges I don't think are more important than the value which I provide through the different companies that I run.
I like what you said about, it's not about the challenges, it's about the potential, the asset that you have.
Correct.
I think it resonates with our name. The name of our show is Pick Yourself Up.
Correct.
This is not about other people helping you. It's not about you looking for handouts. It's about you believing that you have what it takes to get up, pick yourself up, overcome challenges, learn from your setbacks, and move forward. And I think that mindset is very important to success in business.
Very, very, very. It starts with the individual. You have to first of all know who you are, whose you are, and the opportunities around you and the assets that you have innately. I think that helps by understanding that.
So you're saying that clarity is very important. First, who I am. If you don't know yourself, it's very hard to help people and serve others because you don't even know who you are.
Exactly.
What kind of things helped you, or what did you use to know who you are and why you are here?
I think, in life, when you go through different things, you start to understand who you are, where you're from, whose you are. I think as you go through life, you start to understand those different things, and you'll test different things to make sure. But once you come to a clear understanding of who you are, what you're going for, the capabilities that you have, and even also the potential. Because sometimes you might not believe in yourself, but you look at somebody else and you're like, man, if they accomplish that, maybe I can accomplish that, or I can accomplish, I always say to myself, I can accomplish half of what any man or woman can accomplish. So even if you can't believe to the full potential of another individual, you can at least do half what that person did. And by the time you've gotten to that point where you're almost done with that half, you realize that you can even accomplish more than that person has.
Awesome. So indirectly, what you're saying that you need to have someone, a hero or a heroine that motivates you. Do you have anybody who motivates you, somebody you look up to?
Yeah, look up to everybody. Honestly, that's
what I look at. At least tell me 2 or 3 people.
2 or 3 people. I try, as I live my life and I read about different people and I learn about different people, I try to find the good and the asset in everybody, right? And I copy and paste that. You know what I'm saying? So, I might take a smile from an individual. I might take some words from this individual, some knowledge, some skills. So I think an individual needs to always find ways or find resources to better themselves. For example, you said a role model, somebody, right? One person. So, like for me, I'm a Christian. So I find a lot of my motivation, a lot of my teachings from the Bible and from God. So because even in the beginning, let's say when I was going through rough times when, it was just my mom and 5 kids and where we couldn't meet rent and we had we didn't have like we have now, I would always rely on my faith with God to just kind of get me through, keep me motivated, me understanding who I am and whose I am at that point, strengthened me to be able to get to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I picked, you said great things. I want to, emphasize at least two of them. The first thing you said is about you learning from everybody.
Correct.
I think that's smart because everybody has strength.
Yes.
And if you really use every opportunity that you have to learn from others, you don't need to really repeat their mistakes. You learn from their strength, from their experiences. You don't need to really, continue to start everything scratch.
Yeah.
You can stand up on somebody's shoulder, look far.
Yeah.
Another important thing you said is about believing that there is more than just who you are, because,
Correct.
somebody could be a Christian, somebody could be a Jew, somebody could be a Muslim, somebody could be, I don't know, may not believe at all, but one thing we know that there is a higher being.
Yes, it's
we
more than
all
just
may
us.
agree.
Yes.
And I think I heard a lot of successful people telling to others that I'm successful because I tap into something that's bigger than I am.
Exactly.
And I believe also that when you believe that there is something bigger than you, not just power, but also cause. If you just work to benefit yourself and become better for yourself, if you don't have a cause bigger than you can't succeed.
No, you can't, because then you don't have something pulling you. If you already feel that you're the greatest or the best, there's really no motivation for you to get up every morning and work towards. But if you understand that there's something bigger than you, there's a purpose greater than you, then it actually motivates you even when you're tired.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To get up and do something about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You mentioned about even if you feel tired.
Oh, yeah.
I have seen people failing, being tired, myself, stumbling and failing and so on. We have 2 minutes before we go for a break. So I wanted you to tell me whether there are some setbacks that you have experienced, and most importantly, how did you overcome them? What helped you to pick yourself up and move forward?
Yeah, so I mean, as an entrepreneur, as an individual, you're going to experience setbacks all the time. Especially when, for my organizations, I hire about maybe 50 employees. So you have so many different things that come up, so many different setbacks. But like I always say, never focus on the setback. Always focus on, the goal where you're trying to get to or the positive things. So you're asking for a specific setback?
Yeah, if you have or you can tell me what helped you.
I think what helps me to move forward is focusing on where I'm going. Not your current. Don't focus on your current situation. Focus on your vision, where you're going, and how to get there. Because if you focus on the setback, trust me, you're going to stay there a lot longer than you want to stay there.
Yeah.
And focusing on your setbacks is not a motivator at all.
Awesome. I wish if I continue to ask you more questions on this one, but let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And we'll come back and continue from there. Dear our viewers, let's take a break and then we'll come back. Stay tuned.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Welcome back. This is Pick Yourself Up. I'm Assegid Habtewold. In our studio, we have Chiko Abengowe. He is the CEO of Perfect Staffing and Perfect Office. We've been talking about his background, the challenges he has been facing, and so on. We continue our discussion from where we left it. Let's talk about setbacks. One of the things that made me to really volunteer and to produce the show is how can we inspire people, especially migrants, people who are looking for jobs, people who are experiencing setbacks. How can we help them to pick themselves up and move forward, learn from their setbacks? And earlier you mentioned that when you experience setbacks, you don't want to stay there. One of the things that helped you is you look into the future that inspires you to just dust off and move forward. Let's continue from there. Is there any other thing that helped you to pick yourself up, overcome the setbacks?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, focusing on the future and focusing on the bigger picture. One of the setbacks that I had when I had just started my business, so I had just quit my job at the age of 26.
Wow.
While most of my friends are just have really nice
Enjoying
jobs,
life, yeah.
enjoying life, and they're like, Chiko, what are you doing quitting a job, right? A okay paying job. I quit my job at 26, had $1,000 to my name, right? Got started and the business kind of picked up quickly because I was making a lot of phone calls. And in our first year, we did about $400,000.
Wow.
Right? But, the missing piece of that is most of that revenue came from one client, right? The end of that year, I had lost that client.
Wow.
Right? And I learned a hard lesson then that you can't just depend, if you're in business, you can't just depend on one customer. You can't just depend on one client. You have to diversify your client pool so that way revenue is not necessarily fluctuating so much. So when we lost that client, right, we went back to zero. Wow. But that lesson that I learned helped me to diversify my clients that at the end of that second year, we did $800,000
wow.
In business. So that was a setback that I learned from and then applied those lessons to be in a better position later.
Thank you for sharing that. Myself, when I experience setbacks, one of the things that I do is I sit down and consider that as a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
This setback happened, maybe I'm not yet grown. Maybe I need to work on myself.
Correct.
Maybe this is a good thing that makes me better next time. So rather than blaming people, situations, and pointing my fingers, I would point back to me.
Correct.
What is the lesson? How can I tap into this defeat and this failure? And for example, in your situation, if I found myself in your situation, one of the lessons I will learn, I'm glad that I learned this thing, losing one client that I have
Exactly.
at the early stage.
Correct. Early stage so that way you can learn that lesson.
Exactly.
Move forward.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the youth, the immigrant youth in the United States. You came here when you were young. I believe a lot of immigrants who came here early, they have some challenges. They have to cross the culture. They have African parents, friends, colleagues, and then they live in another culture. Do you remember some of the challenges that you have had when you grew up here?
I remember a lot of them.
Tell me
I
at
remember
least
a lot of them.
2 or 3 of them.
So, I mean, as a young kid coming here, and of course, sounding a little bit different, there's a lot of challenges that you face trying to assimilate into the culture, of course. You have the challenges of the way your parents raised you versus the way your schoolmates or your classmates, how their parents raised them. The things that your parents buy for you versus the things that their parents buy for them. So you have those challenges, of course. But the thing that, helped me is that at a very young age, I understood that it's okay to be different. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be different. And and difference, there's power in being a little bit different. So I just kind of focused on harnessing that and applying that and focusing on my education and making sure I did well in school to get a scholarship because my parents couldn't afford for me to go to college. So I needed to focus on school, get good grades, get a scholarship, and got the Bill Gates scholarship, and Bill Gates paid for my college.
Wow, awesome. So 2 things that you said I want to really emphasize. The first one is embrace your difference.
Of course.
Second one is the power of education. We're going to talk about the Bill Gates, scholarship and so on. But first, you said that you embrace your difference.
Correct.
I think one of the challenges that I had and many immigrants may have is you're different when you go to a new place. An American may go to Africa.
Correct.
And that person may find himself or herself different. That has its own challenge. The question is, how do you tap into your difference, embrace it,
Yes.
and use it? Even in business, forget about cultural differences, but even in business, knowing your differentiator, what makes you different than others.
Exactly.
You can even use that as a competitive advantage.
Of course, all the time. That's how certain businesses, because there's nothing new in the world. You get what I'm saying? Even in business. So certain businesses succeed because they differentiate themselves, whether through the service that they provide or whether marketing or whether branding. And the difference is important. Difference is good. You know, the reason why a diamond costs more than water is because it's rare. It's different. You get what I'm saying? Water is readily available. So hence, you know, it's the market value for water is not much.
It's everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you are an immigrant coming here, what you're saying is that find out your uniqueness.
Exactly.
Actually, you can use being different in America for your own advantage.
Of course.
And the market is there. United States is a land of opportunity.
Correct.
You can tap into that, use your difference, and even capitalize on that one than feeling like inferior or left out or, you know, and so on. There may be some cases that may, you know, put you in that position to just complain or, you know, to be defensive and not to appreciate your difference. But if you tap into your difference, you can actually use it to overcome those challenges you're facing.
Of course.
Let's talk about your education. So what did you learn? What was your background?
So so I graduated. I went to high school, Charles Herbert Flowers High School. Graduated from there with the Bill Gates Scholarship, and I decided at that time I wanted to be a doctor, a pediatrician. So I decided to go to a school that was kind of local. So I went to Towson University, and I was studying biology and pre-med. So after the first year, I realized that I didn't want to be a doctor. I more so wanted to own my own practice. So I started to ask myself a question. Are you interested in being a practitioner or are you interested in being a business owner? And that was an important question that I had to answer because the whole time my family had led me towards believing that I wanted to be a doctor. And I found out that that's not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a business owner. So when I made that decision and informed everybody around me, my family, they weren't too excited. My mom wasn't too excited because she was like, I have already told my friends that you were going to be a doctor. So what do you mean? I said, well, maybe we need to tell them that I'm not. But that's my educational background. So did that. Then I switched my major to healthcare management and business. At which point I did my internship at a healthcare staffing agency, Maxim Healthcare, and then worked with them for 2 years. Transitioned out, worked for another healthcare company as a manager, human resources manager. And after then, I said, you know what? I'm young. I want to make my mistakes now. So at the age of 26, I decided to take that leap. Smart decision now.
Back then it was risky. I mean,
very risky.
I want to really emphasize that to many young immigrants because one of the bold decisions that you made, smart decision that you made was to know who you are, what makes you passionate. You could have depended on your parents' choice, but you won't go far. You won't be here. So we know that our parents, our mentors, and our guardians, and so on, our teachers, may try to send us somewhere where there is demand, or they may want us to pursue a profession which may be on demand. But we have to really make sure that we know what we're passionate about because we can't survive if we don't have what it takes inside, especially the passion.
I agree. And it's like you can't go wrong betting on yourself. You know what I'm saying? So,
but a lot of people don't do that. You know, when I make conversation with people, they think this is crazy because people always depend on the demand side. They try to see which profession. I remember when I was going for my doctoral degree in strategic leadership, people say, you have computer science, masters, why don't you pursue computer science? There are this profession which have a lot of demand. Why would you want to go this path? Because I have passion. And a lot of people told me, no, you will graduate and you won't find any job. You will go back to IT. They were really, prophesying on me defeat. I mean, their intention is good because they thought I may get disappointed. And they may be right. But for me, I took risk like you did. And I said, you know what? This is my passion. And let me pursue it. Even if I don't get jobs and business, even if I don't succeed, let me pursue my passion. Let me see, where it takes me. The lesson to our viewers, especially people who are not yet making that decision, is listen to your inside. Know what makes you passionate.
Believe in yourself. bet on yourself. Most of the time, we're spending too much time trying to impress someone else, trying to impress our parents, trying to impress our friends, trying to impress our coworkers. We get to a point where we're not happy. We're depressed. We go into, mental health is a problem nowadays because people are not believing in themselves and carrying out the goals and dreams that they want for themselves. They're just locking it inside and focusing on impressing everybody else.
What do you think going to help them overcome that?
Believe in yourself. Take risk. Do what you really want to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forget what your mom, your dad, your parents, your friends are telling you to do.
Indirectly also, I think we need to let parents and mentors and so on should know that they should not push people towards where they think they will be successful. They should also help their young people to first, asking them to know what their passion is.
Yeah, give them information, give them different choices, and let them pick. But don't pick for them because then you put them in a situation where they're not living their life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're living a life to try to impress you.
With the remaining 2 minutes that we have, do you have any recommendation, any suggestions, anything that you think going to empower immigrants to be successful in the United States?
I mean, I would say just like for immigrants or anyone to just focus on the positive, never focus on the negative, because focusing on the negative or complaining about something never gets you anywhere. Focus on the positive. Focus on a solution, because we want to put ourselves in a position to be producers, not always in a position to be consumers. If you're a consumer, you're not winning the game. You have to put yourself in a position to be a producer, someone who creates something. Because if you can create something of value that people need, you'll never go out of business.
Yep. I mean, I like, I wish if we have time, but we don't have time. So how can people reach out to you?
Well, I am on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram as Chiko the Dream Chaser. I'm on Facebook. And of course, the companies, we have our websites. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to get daily updates and see all the fun stuff that we're doing.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chiko, on behalf of our viewers for coming here and sharing your stories. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, this is my hope that you enjoyed the discussion we had. Going forward, I look forward to see you with another program. Until then, have a wonderful time. Thank you very much for watching.